NBA 2K25 builds are going to get you in serious trouble because they are so good that people are more than likely going to think you're cheating. Trust me when I say this, I have 3 of the most overpowered builds I have seen on 2K25 so far, and I'm here to be the first one to bring them to you guys, so stay locked in all the way to the end of the video because these builds are crazy. First things first, we're going to start with the center, man. Yes, I said a center. 7-foot center, 253 pounds, 7'2" wingspan. And boy, oh boy, this build can do it all. As you guys can see, from the finishing stats all the way down to the speed and agility, it has maxed out stats in almost every single category, with stats ranging from 70s to 80s to even 90s in almost every single category. For the first stat, I should say, we got a close shot with an 82, driving layup with a 47, driving dunk with a 66, standing dunk with a 90, and close control with a 61. So we can see this is not a mainly inside center, but trust me, this build will get the job done from the inside any day. Now the shooting is what's going to take this center build over the top, as this is obviously a popper build. This build is meant to set the screen, pop out to the 3, splash it in somebody's face over them like Victor Wembanyama. I'm telling you guys, this build's looking crazy, with the mid-range being at 87, 3-point being at 83, and free throw being a 62. So yes, it has a high enough free throw for you to use in the 5v5 game modes as well. Now the pass accuracy on this build is what definitely made me look at this build like, is this a wreck build? Because it has an 83 pass accuracy for those full court passes, those break starter passes, but a 48 ball handle and a 28 speed with ball. Now the defense on this build is going to make up for anything that you think is wrong with it, because it has an 85 interior defense, 62 perimeter defense, 59 steal, and a 93 block. Yes, this is one of the highest block builds we have seen for 2K25 so far, and it's looking crazy, man. I'm telling you. Yes, sir. Look at the offensive and defensive rebound, man. Something that we do not see a lot on these center builds for 2K25 is people putting their defensive boards in their offensive. As people are prioritizing getting these offensive boards, we see that this build is getting mainly defensive rebounds with a 69 offensive rebound and a 94 defensive rebound. Now the speed on this build is maxed out or close to max with 68 speed, 55 agility, 91 strength, so we're going to be getting big down there in the post like Shaquille O'Neal with an 80 vertical. Yes, an 80 vertical and a 7-foot center. This build is going to go for all the contacts and meter standing dunks. So if you have your precision dunker or your time dunk badges on Hall of Fame or Legend, it's going to get crazy. We can see in the top right, you get Aerial Wizard on gold, float game on silver. So being able to float with a 7-foot center is going to be crazy. We cannot see the takeovers that this build unlocks in the screenshot, but what we can do is see the build name, in which the build name is a 2-way 3-level scoring threat, which says of Marcus Camby, Miles Turner, and Nicholas Claxton. I'm telling you guys, this is only one of the 3 builds that are looking crazy for 2K25, so make sure to stay with me for the rest of the builds. The next build will be a small forward. Yes guys, we're going through every single position for 2K25. Look at my recent video that I made about 6 of the most overpowered builds. We went through guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers. But for this build, we're going for a small forward position, 6'8", 218 pounds with a 7'1" wingspan. Now we can see that this build is one of the most evenly distributed builds. The only thing it seems like it lacks is playmaking, but we're going to get to that in a second, as I'm sure you can make up for those stats. Now the finishing has an 85 close shot, 74 driving layup, 94 driving dunk, 90 standing dunk, and 56 post control. So we can see that this build can be used efficiently in the paint no matter what you're doing. Close shots, layups, dunks, and even standing dunks. You're going to have a lot of Hall of Fame or maybe even Legend badges in the finishing category for this build for finishing, and it's going to look crazy because you guys can see every single stat that you need is over 70. Now, the shooting on this build is also good as well, as it has a 72 mid-range shot and an 82 3-point shot. The free throw is a little on the lower half on this build, as it sits at a 57 free throw, but I'm sure you guys can make it work if you're in the rec or the pro-am for 5v5 game modes, as you can do everything else. Now, the pass accuracy is extremely low on this build, sitting with a 35 pass accuracy, so I think the creator of this build was trying to make it work. If you are an old head or you're a rec head and you don't really care to pass for the fast break passes, if you're not a center getting rebounds, maybe you don't need to pass it that far. But at the same time, this build does have rebounds, so we're going to be able to tweak some things, lower some stats to get this pass accuracy up if you feel like it. The ball handle has a 59 and the speed of the ball is a 60, so this is not a dribble first small forward build. This is more so a player role type of build. You can score from any angle. As you see, it has maxed out finishing and a high shooting. Perfect. The playmaking is decent and the defense is even better. As you can see, the defense is the main part of this build. It has over 80 points for every attribute in all of the defensive category, as it has an 83 interior defense, 81 perimeter defense, 85 steal, and an 88 block. So this is close to what we just seen in the last build. Had the center had a 90 block. This build is 6'8 with an 88. Now we can see this is another build that's prioritizing getting defensive rebounds, as it has a 52 offensive rebound and an 87 defensive rebound. Now the next couple stats are where it really gets good, as the speed is up there with the guard. Now this speed is an 80 speed for the 6'8 small forward build, 76 agility, 63 strength, and 85 vertical. What? And something that I really noticed that's going to take a big role for this build is the 63 strength, as most builds lack strength on this game, especially builds that range from 6'6 to 6'8. They have around a 40, maybe even 50 at the highest strength, or they're extremely strong with an 80 to 90 strength, but they're lacking stuff in other attributes. This build managed to even it out, and all the attributes has strength, speed, agility, and vertical, along with all offensive attributes being amazing. Now, if you wanted to adjust this build to make the pass accuracy a little higher, I would more than likely take down the driving dunk, as I personally don't need to get every single contact dunk in the game, but if you do, I would definitely keep it there. Now what you could do instead is probably take down some of the block, as it has a very high block, so I would choose either to take down some of the block, or I would choose to take down some of the steal, one or the other, and I would keep everything else. Now I'm sure that could probably get your pass accuracy to at least a 65-70 if you take that block and steal down to around a 70, but you might be losing some of your defensive badges. But that's okay, because this build seems overpowered no matter which way you make it. The name for this build is a two-way inside-out threat with shades of Sean Marion, OG Anunoby, I don't know how to pronounce his name, or Michael Porter Jr. On to the last and final build of the video, man. Lock all the way in, because we're not done yet. I'm not going to give up here and tell you guys that this is the worst one, because this is looking like one of the best. Now this is a shooting guard build, as this is the third build that we went over in this video. We went through a center, small forward, and now shooting guard. So we're going through all positions, not only point guards over here.
Yes, sir.
Shooting guard, 6'5", 175 pounds, 6'5" wingspan. Now this build is looking extremely spread out in every single attribute, and we're going to get into it right now. As the close shot is sitting with a 68, driving layup with a 64, but the driving dunk being at the peak of the finishing, so it's an 80, standing dunk 64, and very low post control sitting with 69. Now we can see that some of the finishing stats are not as high on this build as they are on other builds, but trust me, this will get the job done as a 6'5", because you will be able to dunk, you will be able to make your layups no matter what type of attributes you have your layup on, 50, 60, 70, or even 80, or even a 99 layup. You're gonna be able to make layups if you're open. So now for the shooting is what really takes the build over the top for me, especially the playmaking and the shooting. The combo between both of them is looking amazing. The mid-range is at 83, three-pointer is a 93, and free throw being a 72, so this is one of the higher shooting builds that we've seen in the video. Now the playmaking, like I said, the shooting and playmaking combo in this build is amazing, so the playmaking is almost just as good as the shooting.
What did he say?
This build has a 78 pass accuracy, 79 ball handle, and an 82 speed with ball. So the speed with ball being the highest category in the playmaking is very interesting to me, but I'm sure that's probably going to work out amazingly for whoever's rocking this build. Now, the interior defense on this build is not that high, sitting with a 45 interior defense, but the perimeter is a 91 to make up for it. The steal is also at 85, and the block is low, sitting at a 43, but you're 6'5", you're not going to get that many blocks anyway, but maybe if you put on block boost, you can hope for the best. Now, the offensive rebound is the lowest it can be at a 25, and the defensive rebound is at 51. So we see that this build is definitely going to run point guard or even shooting guard as the position says, and you're not really going for boards, but you can score offensively every way possible.
Easy.
Now this build is another one of those builds with extremely high speed and agility, sitting at 87 speed and 88 agility, with a strength at 52 and vertical at 67. And the only thing I would probably change on this build is maybe up the vertical up to around a 78, or an 80, that way you can get more dunks. But other than that, this build looks amazing. This build is the one and only 3-and-D 2-guard, a build that most people have not seen yet for 2K25, with shades of Doug, Crystal, or Chrissy, I'm tweaking, Alex Caruso, Dejounte Murray, and yeah, that's it, man. That's it for the video, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed these 3 most overpowered builds and the breakdown I gave you guys of them. So if you guys make this build, make sure to come back to this video when 2K25 drops. Leave me a comment letting me know that you made this build and that you enjoyed the video. And also like the video, share it with your friends, because I'm sure they're gonna need a build for 2K25 to help them out in getting their next build and not wasting any VC. Also, go check out my previous video, as I made 6 of the most overpowered builds for 2K25. I'll let you guys see them broken down to you the same way I did in this video. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace. I love y'all.
I don't got friends, these my brothers, not my comrades. I learned how to finesse and then I turned it to a con man. Freedom niggas, they ain't talk, they turned it to some convicts. I don't like to chatter talk, don't tweak under my comments.